What's going on? And welcome to the Peak Podcast. We are your hosts, Kyle Nelson and Eli Libby. We are stoked that you're listening in to this episode. The Peak Podcast is all about defining fulfillment and helping you lay out that journey towards it. You might be curious in what we do. We run a men's coaching program called Peak Fulfillment, where we help millennial male tech entrepreneurs how to craft a balanced lifestyle through being self-aware of those limiting beliefs that are stopping us and holding us back from reaching our full potential. But more importantly, we have an awesome guest today. We're going to be doing some breath work. We're going to be talking about stress management and so much more. But before we get started, Eli, why don't you do your little welcome and share everyone the structure of this podcast?
Well, good morning, everybody, or wherever you are in this incredible world. I'm feeling a little cold this morning, dude. I shaved the beard yesterday. I don't know if you knew, but I'm feeling a little cold this morning.
Dude, I thinned mine out too. I don't know if you noticed that.
I know.
But it's like it's weird how quick you get cold.
Yeah, I do too. I'm not really into it. I need to get it. My chin looks weird. Anyways,
you might have. Well, real quick, we may have to do some breath work and stress management over this beard thing.
Yeah, I know. I'm kind of feeling a little. Yeah, I'm getting a little worked up right now. Got a little armpit sweat. Anyways, the structure of our podcast is very broken out. It's very time batched, which is what we talk about in our program, leading to productivity. So how we do our podcast, every guest that we bring on, as you guys know, will answer the same set of questions so that you can see how these thought leaders perform and answer those questions. So I think, Kyle, without further ado, man, let's bring him in.
Today, we have Taylor Somerville. He is the founder of Symmetry, based in Memphis, Tennessee. He's a breath and performance coach, and he'll tell you all about his history and what he does. So let's bring him on. Welcome, Taylor.
Welcome. Thanks for having me. And by the way, you guys shaved your beard. I don't even think I can ever grow a beard. Is what you have right there. So the fact that y'all shaved it down to that is pretty impressive.
That's awesome.
Yep. It's all about that tea tree oil, man. It like
totally
pops.
It's
like
little CBD too for the skin. It just really... Well, awesome, man. Well, Taylor, to kick things off, why don't you expand a little bit on that intro of who you are and kind of what you do and your background and how you got to where you are today, man?
So I spent 15 years in the investment business. I was on a trading floor for about 10 years of that, working on an economic side there. We traded interest rates, really dealing with a kind of global macro picture of what was going on in the world. It's a very high stress environment. And I was going through a lot of personal stress, went through a divorce. About 10 years ago now. And professional stress as well. And I found the breathing techniques as a way to help me deal with that. Really dove into those and just found that it gave me the ability to respond instead of react in stressful situations, to let go of some anger, some reactionary tendencies, and just make it easier to kind of flow through the chaos of life. So in 2017, I quit my job and started Symmetry in 2018. Since then, I've been helping high-achieving, busy people take back control of their life so they have more time, more energy, and less stress. We use breath as the foundation. Also like to throw people in ice baths and saunas and do some other things like that along the way, too.
That's incredible, awesome. Man. It's crazy that you went from this high-stress, chaotic world to kind of the guy that you are now. And just by talking to you, I mean, it is relaxed, it's refined, and I just give you a lot of kudos for taking that leap. That's a big leap, I'm sure. Probably a pretty stressful leap as well.
Yeah, of course. It's not easy, especially back when I did it. A lot of people didn't know really much about breath work, especially in Memphis, Tennessee, or, why breathing was important or why you're getting in ice baths and saunas and doing that. Now, in 2024, it's a whole different ballgame. You can see it pretty much on everybody's Instagram or, whatever you're looking at these days, social media wise. But back in 2017, 2018, didn't see a lot of it. So it's kind of, I'm sure some people thought I was quite crazy for doing what I did.
Well, the whole ice bath thing, I think you're still crazy, but maybe I just need to give it a try. Maybe I just need to give it a try.
Out. You don't have to start there. You can start with cold showers and it's more about just getting out of your comfort zone and doing something you don't want to do.
Right.
Yep.
That's awesome. Well, we're going to do a little bit of breath work here in a couple minutes, but before we do that, we've got 2 quick icebreakers for you. First one, if you could invite 3 people, living or dead, to a dinner party, who would they be and why?
Oh, that's a good one. Well, I would say the first one, my father, because it'd be nice to see him again. He passed away in 2019, so that would be great. I would put, Jesus up there. It'd be awesome to hear his words, hear his talk. Kind of, really gotten back into spirituality recently, and so I think that would be great. And then, if I'm going to go with one more, I'll go with Nick Saban as a big Alabama football fan, and love to just talk about a high performer in all areas of life. Love to just get his take on everything as well.
That's awesome. Love
that
it.
was great.
I think out of everyone we've asked, no one's brought up past family members, which is surprising.
I know.
that probably would be nice to see some.
Yeah, that was the first one that came to my mind. I was like, and I think he would enjoy talking with those people as well.
Yeah, totally.
Absolutely. Awesome. Heck yeah.
Well, I think we may have already had a little insight on this other icebreaker, but maybe you'll throw us a curveball and say something different. But in your personal and business life, when was there a time that you totally overcame adversity?
I would say, what I mentioned, kind of going through that divorce back 10 years ago was really one of the big changing points in my life. At that time, I was in a career that I was focused on, and I kind of basically planned for what I thought my life was going to be. And all came kind of crashing down and really quickly, and was like, okay, everything has changed. Knowing that life can change so quickly, it's like, is this what I really want to be doing? Like, what is planned out for me? And it ended up being the best thing that ever happened to me in my life. Changed my career, met my current wife. We have a now 5-month-old daughter, and happily married, and now have a family. So it was the best thing that ever happened to me. And I think that's what we fail to realize a lot when difficult things happen in our life, is that they can be the impetus for growth and helping us really move forward.
Absolutely. Couldn't agree more. Thanks for sharing that with us, man.
Yeah, appreciate that. So before we dive in, Taylor, lead us through a quick 2 to 3 minute breath exercise, again, to kind of mitigate that stress and kind of prepare for the day.
All right. This is what we call SOS breathing. So it's kind of a way to stop stress in the moment. It's something that we'll use actually kind of when we get people first in ice baths. But if you're in a stressful situation, it's a way we like to get control of our breath, and we focus on slowing it down. I'll also give a little key. If say you get stressed out, you're staring at your phone or at your computer, look up and look away, and kind of let your eyes go a little bit more panoramic, as opposed to that focused attention, because that focus puts you into more of a stress state as well. So do that. We're going to take just 3 big breaths in through the nose, forceful, strong exhale out of the mouth. Really expand the belly, expand the ribs. You breathe in. One more like that. Then I just want you to go slowly in through the nose. Slower out of the mouth. You can kind of purse your lips together. Nice, slow exhale. We'll go with a few more like that. Slowly in. Let the belly expand as you're breathing in. Slower out of the mouth. Let it fall as you're breathing out. Another one like that. And we're just going to breathe in the nose for 3, 2, 1. Pause. Slowly out of the mouth for 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. In for 3, 2, 1. Pause. Slowly out for 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. In for 3. Pause. And this time let's hiss the exhale through our teeth. Just and we'll go with 2 more just like that. In for 3. Pause and hiss that exhale out for 6. There you go. 1 more. And then just let that breath move in through the nose, out through the nose. Just a nice, relaxed, calm breath. You notice if you had any subtle shifts.
For sure.
And that's just a quick, easy,
Feeling amazing.
easy stress relief.
I love it, man. The
Kick
stress
off
ball, my
every
beard
podcast like
completely gone. Have you ever had anybody pass out? Because I felt my knees kind of start to wobble. I got really relaxed.
You can get a little lightheaded doing certain breathing techniques.
Yeah.
So you got to be careful a lot of times sitting down. If we'd have gone through a lot more of those kind of big, powerful breaths, you would probably get very lightheaded if you've never done it before.
I mean, that was amazing.
We do a lot of the breathing sitting down or, even lying down on your back.
That's awesome. I felt a tremendous difference physically, emotionally, everything.
100%.
And just like in 1 minute, because we don't want to get too off track. What is it about the physical breathing that does to your body? Like just overall, like why is it so powerful?
Well, a minute is very short, but I'll try to make this. For one, you can think about the breath as it's the only really system that's automatic, but it's under our control. And I look at it's under our control for a reason. It's a tool we can use to change our mental and physical state. Our mind and our body is constantly monitoring our breath rate, monitoring how we're breathing, whether we're using our diaphragm, whether you're using the secondary respiratory muscles in our shoulders. And, you can see as you take control and conscious control of your breath, you can see the prefrontal cortex areas like that light up in your brain. So it's not only in like the brainstem, those more ancient primitive areas of the brain, which are more the automatic functions, but it's in that conscious control. And then we use things like we use there, that long, slow exhale. That's a way to calm the nervous system, get us into more of that relaxed parasympathetic state, which we call it on the nervous system, out of that more stress, fight or flight state. And we're always trying to focus that in through the nose. That helps us get down in that state as well. And so it's, there's quite a few different techniques, a ton of methods in breathing. But I'm very focused on the principles, understanding kind of why, the physiology, what's going on in your body. It's same with stress. It's physiological response in your system. And when you can kind of understand some basics in that area, you can understand like what's going on when you start getting stressed out, when you start getting an email from a boss, or, something happens with your partner, or hell, somebody cut you off in the while you're driving down the road. It's the same physiological reaction that our body's been doing for thousands, millions of years. And it's just kind of understanding that response and learning that we have tools that we can kind of help us get out of that state.
Such an easy tool too. Like you have it ready to go at any moment. It's amazing.
That's it. It's with you forever. So if you can just learn a few things on how to use it, and really how you breathe in every day as you're going through your day, you can make some pretty significant shifts without going super far down the rabbit hole or thinking that you got to do like a 20, 30-minute breath session. You can really get a lot accomplished in just a few minutes.
Right.
Incredible. Well, thanks for sharing that again, man. That was,
of course,
that was awesome.
So we're going to kick off the core content of the podcast. We're going to start drilling you with some pretty deep, thought-provoking questions here. So prepare yourself. We love these questions. This is what we do every single podcast because we're really trying to define what fulfillment is on a larger scale and what people's journey is towards it. So we're going to just kick it off. Taylor, how do you define fulfillment?
Well, look at fulfillment as, for one, it's kind of like how do you define success? Having control over my schedule is a big aspect of it. Being able to having the freedom to spend time with my family, and being able to grow as a person, no matter whether that's personally, professionally, spiritually, but constantly being able to grow, not just getting stuck and doing the same thing over and over and over again. I am a very routine-oriented person. Some people would say I can be pretty disciplined. But if you're not growing and changing and constantly kind of looking for areas where you can expand your horizons, I think you're leaving a lot on the table. So those are some areas I really look at when I'm looking at fulfillment.
Awesome, man. Did you have a different definition when you were in the banking world? Like if we would have asked you this, 10, 15 years ago.
Oh yeah. It's how much money. It's how much money can I get as fast as I can get it.
Exactly.
Which is what I would say most people, think of when they first get out of college. It's all right. What job can pay me as much money as that possible right now? and how can I grow? And that was really what I was looking at, is how can I make as much money as possible?
Absolutely.
And while money's important, it's, still want to make money, need money to live and do the things that I want to do. But having control and freedom, you got to have money, but I don't think it can be the center, and it can't be the focus, because if it's the focus, then you're going to lose a lot in life.
Totally agree. I think the older you get, the more you realize bills are paid. You got some extra cushion to go on a nice vacation with the family. Then you go and focus on everything else in your life. You could be pretty fulfilled fairly quickly. So
that's right. And you can always make more money.
You always can. Yep.
My wife would probably say that I'm a little bit more of the stickler on the purse strings. But she talks about that more, and I'm like, that is true. You can always make more money. There's always, if you believe in yourself, there's always something you can figure out on that.
Absolutely.
Dialed, man. All right, we're moving to the next one, and I think you're going to really nail this one based on what you do and some of the things that you've gone through. What are some self-care practices or self-preservation practices that you do to mitigate stress and chaos in your life?
Well, breath work would be top of the list. Movement, being physically active as well. I think that is very important. I mean, you can look at all the research and on depression, anxiety, having some type of physical practice, even if it's just going out and walking, is going to be hugely impactful. Also uses things like the cold and the heat, ice baths and saunas as a way to help with stress, and really getting outside too, just being out in nature. I find whenever I'm sitting in front of the computer screen for long stretches of the day, luckily I have nice windows. I can look out on my yard, stuff like that. But if I don't actually go out there, that is a struggle. And then, other than that, it's also spending quality time with family, friends, as relationships are vitally important. That's one thing I've really gotten as I've gotten older, is just how key relationships are in our life. You look at, you can talk about all the stuff with like blue zones and nutrition and all that. Well, I think the reason that they are as healthy as they are and they live as long is because they have cultivated relationships, and they're happy. They're constantly moving. They're constantly doing things, and they're doing it with other people. If you're stuck just doing things by yourself, it can become very dreary, and you can kind of wall in on yourself, have the walls kind of close in, and makes it very difficult in life. So trying to keep friends and family close to you, and those ones that build you up as opposed to the people that try to push you down.
I'd be curious, someone like yourself that kind of discovered these different breathworks and ways to mitigate stress. When stress does into your life, which it's a daily thing, something pops up, I would imagine you're more resilient though. Like your stress, something that maybe a long time ago, like 10, 15 years ago, seemed so stressful and big, but today when it hits you, you're like, oh, I can take care of this quickly, right? So you've been able to build this resilience towards stress. Do you see that in your students as well, or does it still just
100%? And I think a big part of that is understanding that you'll see in everything you read nowadays is how bad stress is. Well, stress isn't good or bad. It just is. It's a fact of life. It's something that we have to deal with. And if you can reframe that aspect of it, change your mindset around how you view it, that helps a lot as well. And you can use stress to grow and get better. That's how we do grow. We have to stress our systems.
Right.
And we take a bit and recover, and then we push forward. We see that a lot with our clients, just making small little shifts in their life, becoming a little bit more resilient. We do a lot of work on kind of resiliency training. There's different techniques along that front, and I think it helps along the way. But, I am still human, and yes, I get stressed out, still freak out. But I would say when those things happen, you have the ability to kind of bring yourself back down instead of ruminating on something for days or weeks, or, it's more of hours and minutes as opposed to letting it keep just sticking with you for a long, long time. And that's where I think you can see a really big benefit.
Right. That's awesome.
Yeah, that's huge. And I think it's a testament too, as you talked more or earlier about when you went through the divorce and the positivity that came out of that. I think that just builds that armor. And I think a lot of people should look, and you said it the best earlier, a lot of people should look at it as opportunity and getting uncomfortable and the positivity that can come from that. So I think it's just a testament to everything that you say. Your messaging is just very consistent.
Thank you.
You had mentioned how you're a very routine person. Some would call it disciplined. And this question is really going to really hit home with that. So what is a consistent daily routine that drives your productivity every day?
Every day. Well, let's see. In reality, every day, I don't do anything every day. During the week, when I'm trying to be more productive, I am getting up and, I'm spending about 15 minutes to myself in the morning. Could be doing a little bit of breath work, journaling. I think those are big aspects to my productivity. I would say something that could help everybody's productivity, including mine, is putting your phone away more often than not. Like, that's something that we talked a lot to our clients about. And a lot of it is a reminder to myself, because I can easily get distracted.
Absolutely.
You're on, check Instagram in the morning, first thing, next thing you know, an hour's gone. So, trying to do some self-care practices before you pull out your phone and start looking through anything, whether it's checking your email, whether it's going to Instagram. Can you give yourself at least 15 minutes away from the phone, preferably about 30, just to give yourself some space. So you kind of take control of your day, as allowing everything else, every outside source come in and immediately control what your mental response is going to be.
I love it. Especially the challenge of the phone. Over the past 6 months to a year, I've slowly deleted apps. And then I'm like, this is a waste of time. It's not doing much for me. It's actually probably creating stress more than actually helping.
I mean, you guys work with tech entrepreneurs. Those guys are not stupid, and they're very smart, and they know how to keep us looking back at the phone over and over and over again.
Man.
And so
it's an addiction, that's for sure.
It takes a diligent effort to put it away. In reality, if it's just sitting there on my desk, I'm likely to check it. It's across the room, less likely to check it.
Absolutely.
Even just turning it over can make a huge difference. So you don't ever see anything come up. I try to do all the things, have the downtime where nothing can come through during certain hours a day, except a couple of contacts. But you look at it, you're like, oh, I wonder what's going on there. It's just kind of a way the little resistance pop up, and it pushes you away from whatever you're doing productively, work-wise, or even family or relationships. And we're so easy just to look into that thing and get lost.
Absolutely.
Wow. That's really cool. Is that something that the people that you work with, like you mentioned, you said kind of disconnecting, putting the phone away. Are you getting them in the mindset in the morning to get into a routine? Is that a big part of some of the stuff that you do with your clients? Is routine, I guess my question is, routine a huge part of that mitigation of stress?
Yes. And it is. Try to look at it a little differently. And this is something I would say I've changed my thinking on over the years. Everybody doesn't need the same one. You go on things nowadays, and it's, somebody talking about their 2-hour morning routine. You don't need that. Right. If you've got a family and other people in your, good luck. You can't do that. But we're real big on if you can just create 15 minutes, stack a few habits together, make it as easy as you possibly can. Having something at night and something in the morning, all it needs to be is 15 minutes. And we are very big on combining, just doing a little breathing, getting outside, seeing the sun, even simple things like hydrating before you simulate, drinking water before you start getting into coffee in the morning, just making small little shifts like that to create some type of structure into your day and give you a little bit more control because there's only so much, we can control, and it's very little in reality. But having just a small little time in the morning, and that could even be, all right, maybe you get up and you have to go straight into the shower. Well, spend a few minutes just slowing your breath down, focusing on how you feel, and doing a couple things like that. And then, hey, maybe you'll turn your shower on cold and give you a little boost of energy and the ability to kind of take control of your stress and slow it down and doing something that you didn't want to before the hard days of life, hard parts of life come hit you for the rest of the day.
Right.
That's powerful. And in reality, 15 minutes to ourselves should be a no-brainer. That's no time at all.
Yeah. So, there's, I think 1,440 minutes in a day. So it's,
I think
about 10 it's not a lot. So it's less than about 1% of your day. If you can give 1% of your day to yourself, you're doing pretty well.
Love it. Love it. Love it. All right, we're rounding out our last question here. You mentioned blue zones earlier, we're familiar with that. This question revolves around that North Star, that ikigai, as they talk about in blue zones. What is your purpose, and how did you find it?
A lot of inner work. My purpose is really to help, guide other people, show them their potential, show them that, we've all got, really more inside of us than we think we do. We can always do more, and we always have the ability to kind of change wherever we are. If we're kind of feel like we're stuck in certain situations, you have those choices. You can make it, and you can kind of take a little bit more control. That's why we use that terminology at Symmetry, and it's really focusing on just helping guide others to what they really want to do. And I found that through the ups and downs of my life, and doing a lot of deep inner work along the way to figure that out.
That's awesome. Quick follow-up on that. When you, so it sounds like, you're obviously, to move forward with your purpose, you're a coach, you're a mentor. Did you have someone that kind of helped you through that process in times when you were learning? Because you say you did a lot of inner work, but did you have someone that was kind of teaching you those things, or was there a specific book or podcast? Or
I've had multiple coaches throughout my career, from business coaches to just kind of like mindset, also therapists, reading deeply in a lot of different areas. So I think everybody needs a coach, needs somebody that you can, even if it's, going to therapy and having somebody to talk to, somebody who's going to kind of set you straight and, put you along the lines. But I have a whole tons of books that I've read over the years that kind of helped along those ways too. We actually kind of give a reading list to a lot of our clients as well, if they want to check that stuff out.
Awesome. Yeah, I think a lot of people, when they're dealing with those times of adversity, they don't know what that next step is. They don't know how to get started. And I think, we talk, obviously you as well, we all talk to a ton of different coaches. Like that's our network, our circle. And all of them typically say, I started with a coach, I started with a book, I started with somebody just to help me, guide me in the right direction. So I was just curious if that was true for you as well.
Yeah. And it's just taking one small step. I'm very much analytical person. I could say suffered from a little paralysis by analysis over the years. The key thing is just to take a little small step, understand you're never going to have it all figured out. But the part of figuring it out is taking a small step, failing, learning, and moving forward.
Love it.
Huge lesson. Yeah, it's a huge lesson to people, because I think finding their purpose is always, it's such a gray thing. It's hard to do. Some of the stuff you're talking about is just great tips for people to take.
Well, Taylor, man, thank you so much for joining us on this conversation and breaking down kind of your definition of fulfillment and productivity and stress management and all that stuff. So if you could so politely just let everyone know, where can they find you? What is exactly the person you're looking for that you can help?
Yeah, thank you for having me on here. We're really focused. We work with high achieving, busy professionals, people who feel overwhelmed with their stress. Just want to learn some simple techniques to help stop that stress and learn how to grow from it. Is really the clients we work with most of the time. And you can find us at symmetry.live, on Instagram at symmetry.live as well. And we've got a free ebook called The 5 Pillars of Breath, which goes into really how we look at breath work and how you can use it to help yourself. And so I can send you guys a link for that. You can add it to the show notes.
Will do.
Beautiful.
Well, thanks for joining us, man. We appreciate you. And definitely, as time goes by, we will absolutely. I would love to do a whole podcast just on breathwork tips.
I would
just like how we do things.
We'll have you back.
So.
Love it. We'll have you all for it. Thank you.
Awesome. Thanks, man. Well, thank you so much for joining us on another episode of the Peak Podcast. If you are looking to get some really good listening in from amazing thought leaders just like Taylor, make sure to subscribe. check us out and get those notifications, because every time we're launching a podcast, it's going to be amazing thought leaders just like Taylor sharing his little nuggets of help that can help you really perform better in your life. And like we said, we are Men's Coach. We help men who are millennials, male tech entrepreneurs, how to craft that balanced lifestyle that they really went out to really create as entrepreneurs through being more self-aware and really challenging those limited beliefs that they have so they can really get back and reach the full potential. So if that's you, please contact us at peakfulfillmentcoaching.com. Again, I'm Kyle Nelson. This is Eli Libby. We're your hosts of the Peak Podcast. Thank you so much for joining us, and we'll talk and see you in the next podcast.
See you guys.